Well, hello, folks. It's Wednesday, so you're here with Will. Good to see you. I hope everybody's doing okay. Today, we're going to talk about purpose with my dear friend, Michelle Cordy. But before we jump into the topic and the discussion, I wanted to make sure that I find out where everybody's tuning in from. So here we go. Type in the comments where you're tuning in from, because I love to see where everybody's watching from. Also type in team live or team replay so we understand whether you're doing it now or later in the future. Okay, for those of you who've never watched before, someone who's just catching this, I'm Will Sullivan, the founder of Aspiring Better Human. I created a company because I'm on a mission to spread kindness. I'm working on a website, so plug. If you haven't signed up, look at the bottom here. If you haven't signed up, be sure to sign up for aspiringbetterhuman.com. I plan to have more content there in the month to come. So, today's topic, let's get started there. One of my favorite expressions that I put up earlier is find out who you are and do it on purpose. And those of you who know me know that that's a favorite quote of mine. Dolly Parton has said that many, many times, and I don't think it can ever be said enough. And it is something that I take near and dear to my heart. So Michelle, who's coming on in just a moment, is someone that we became LinkedIn buddies, right, Michelle? And I see you in the green room. We became LinkedIn buddies, and we defied all the odds that don't make friends with strangers on the internet, because maybe bad things will happen. We've become friends. She's someone who's really close to me, and she's helped me through a couple of crises myself. So I'll let her talk about her work. I'm going to see if I could bring her on right now. And there you are, Michelle. Say hi to everybody.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for having me on today, Will.
So while I scroll through and bring up all of our dear friends who are watching and supporting, why don't you tell everybody who's watching who you are, what you're doing, and before you do that, just look at that shirt. Be kind, be kind. Another thing that could never be said enough.
Right, exactly. Yes. Your motto is be kind. Mine is to have unconditional love for yourself. So that's kind of where my journey has been. In 2017, I was part of a reduction in workforce, and I had been in my company for 9 years in marketing. I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do next? Do I stay in marketing? Do I want to go back in human resources? What do I want to do? And I found a great job seeker support group for business professionals. I can now say this now. I'm a former people pleaser, but at the time I was a people pleaser, and I would put myself last and help everybody in the room except for myself. And through my career transition, I realized that I had to finally put myself first. And I did find a great job. However, after I landed, I realized I had the aha moment that I wanted to be a career coach. And I truly believe that I had to go through the ebbs and flows of being a career coach and being career transition to have the aha moment, because I had been in human resources, so I had been on that side of the side of things. And I love, like I said, I love helping people. So when I was going through that side of things, I also had another aha moment. I was going through my job, and I realized this is not the right fit for me. And I had a great conversation with my boss and said, unfortunately, I said I was unhappy. And she said, what can I do to make you happy? And she realized, that my gifts were, helping people with career transition. She allowed me to do that. However, when COVID happened, I was on a temporary furlough, and I was, kind of what is my what next in the 2 months. In the career transition group that I spoke about was going online and Zoom. So I was again helping people in that group. And I'm like, this is what I love. This is what I have to be doing. And when she asked me to come back, I resigned to pursue my own career coaching, coaching. And then I realized in the fall of 2020 that I needed to put myself first. I felt like there was something inside of me that, as we experience and grow and evolve, that I can no longer be a people pleaser. I was dropping whatever I was doing in the middle of dinner when somebody says, can you look at my resume? And I'm like, oh, sure. And I'm like, no, I have to do this for me. I have to put myself first. So I started doing that, and little another little information. I had gone through depression, and I said gone through because I've healed myself through that. A lot of things. People. Be kind, because you never know what people are experiencing. Because I was, shut off from the world at many times. I would put a
Right.
big smile on my face, and I'm like, I'm fine, and divert the conversation.
Don't we
Conversation.
all do that? Sorry to cut you off, but
Exactly.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
fine. It's
and
okay.
yeah, and you can feel people. I'm an energy person. I can pick up on people's vibes, and I can feel their shift, and that's me. I would go, I can sense something. What's wrong? Other people wouldn't do that for me, and I just kept it. And not that I expected that, but I had my walls up, and it wasn't until the fall of 2020 when I invested in myself in a international coaching program, and it wasn't the program for per se that helped me. It was the people in the room, and the people
Yeah.
in that program that helped me. As I was being able to be my authentic self, I was I felt like I was, I described this like I had been buried in a ditch, and vines and weeds and dirt, and felt like I was finally unburying myself, and I was seeing the light. But I had to do the internal work of healing, the wounds that I have gone through. I had a loved one say things to me that since a tween that had been playing in my head. And it equated to I'm not good enough. And finally I said, no, I am good enough.
Yes.
Yeah, and I had to tell myself that I love you and I am proud of you, and we have to be your own best friend and cheerleader. But we have to have unconditional love for ourselves in order to serve people better. And
I
that's
One thing I wanted to
yeah.
touch upon. Sorry to cut you off, but
No, you're fine.
something you that and I've told you this before on our own calls.
Right, right,
You you taught me to feel it. You have to feel it to heal it, right?
right.
So
Yeah,
talk about that, because you're about transformation,
right,
and hey, I can relate to the people pleasing part, and everything's fine, and then you're just a hot mess behind the scenes, backstage, or elsewhere.
right.
And as all of us, right, the pandemic, the lockdowns, this whole virtual world has changed us.
Hmm.
We're feeling things and we're going through it.
Right.
I would say, of all the things we ever discuss and the things that you have helped me with, is that feel it to heal it. There have been moments where I'll just lie still. I'll stop doing things.
Yeah.
I'll put the phone down. I'll turn the TV off. I'll just be still. Talk about that, because that helped transform me in our conversation, and you know this. But
Yes.
talk a little bit more about that, because that's powerful.
Right. So everything is energy, us, everything, thoughts, beliefs, behaviors, actions, emotions, everything is going through us. So if we do not, one of my mottos, feel it to heal it, energy needs to flow through us. And when it doesn't flow through us, it comes stagnant. And stagnate, when it's stagnant, it has nowhere to go. And then, we cause our own dis-ease. And that's what, no one said, here, Michelle, here's depression. They're everything, the negative self-talk, the beliefs of, other people have said to me become other people's story, my stories, even though they're imposing their fears and worries and griefs onto you, and it's theirs to begin with and not your own. So that's what we need to equate. Like, don't take things personal, and that's really hard. Believe me, I know. But
Right.
you have to, if you're triggered, and I call it the power of the pause. I take 3 deep breaths, and I say, what caused my trigger? Was it someone? Was it an event? And then feel it to heal it, and let it go. One of my other sayings is, I've never seen Frozen, but I'm like, let it go, Elsa. That's my little, my little negative person. Like, let it go.
But that was, I mean, when you think about the advice
Yeah,
and we give, right, transformation, that's what you do. People work with you to change
right,
it. And
right,
through our friendship and through our work here, right? I
right.
think it was Community of Seven and David Hansen. We just started our own kind of group, and I look forward to our discussions all the time and supporting one another. And
Right.
so there is the need to be able to just not brush it off,
No.
right? And I think as a society, as people, we're kind of taught just, walk it off, keep going.
Right.
And I think you're right. We're all energy. And to be able to understand, how do I put this? We can't just be endless cheerleaders and always be hooray. You want to be kind, you want to be upbeat, but
Right.
that's not the human condition.
Mhm.
You have to go through it all and
Uh-huh.
understand where you put your energy towards. And I think that that's been transformative for me.
Right. And it has to start with from within. You have to have unconditional love for yourself. And society has coined, it's selfish to put yourself first. And I'm saying no, it's necessary. We have to go through the healing journey, that whatever you have been through in your entire life, even back to childhood wounding. You have to forgive the people that have, hurt you, and say, okay. And you're not necessarily forgiving them for whatever happened to you or what they said to you. It's to forgive yourself also, for
Right.
you to move ahead and move on and move forward, because that's the way we evolve into who we truly are. We've been programmed and conditioned by society, but do this, do that, do this. No, you have to listen to your inner knowingness. We know ourselves best, because other people will try to tell you what to do, and it's just like, no, I know. People, when somebody had said, don't follow your passion, I'm like, no, passion is your purpose. And when something resonates with me, like through the coaching, when I was helping all these people in the room and the day was flying, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm loving this. And now, I still help people in career transition, although it starts from, again, from within. Because if you're not happy from within and you're jumping to job, that's a wake up call. Like, there's something within you that you need to heal in order to find your purpose.
So, Michelle, I have a question for you, and then I'll ask the folks who are watching a question.
Yeah.
How I started to learn my own personal triggers, right?
Yeah.
You get that hangry feeling, or something, you start to feel that other you coming about, or
Yeah.
that other thing.
Right.
And I guess with time and enough drama, you start to realize it. What do you teach people to look for those triggers, right? Because, we're going to talk about finding your purpose, but you can't get to the journey of purpose until you start to understand our complicated selves. So, how do you teach people to look for those triggers and what to do with them? And there's tons of great comments here. I'm going to keep scrolling through, and there are a couple of questions and a couple of things. I just keep putting them up on the screen.
Well, I'm not paying attention to the comments. I will look into those later. I'm kind of focusing on looking ahead. But thank you so much for everybody's comments and so forth. But yeah, so like I said earlier, when you're triggered, stop, observe, breathe. Don't react right away. It's like it's like, if you're in a partnership with someone is triggering you, and they're looking for reaction. When you stop and observe and pause, like, wait a minute, what? Why am I triggered? What? And it's usually something within them that is provoking, or no, something they said that is provoking inside of you. And that means something inside you from even, childhood, or, something in adulthood. Is you have to figure out why, what is causing this triggered event or emotion, or whatever someone said. And like I said, you have to allow that to go through. And it's like, if it's getting angry, if it's crying, just have that emotional reaction, but don't let it become stagnant.
I've realized, and I'll share a personal story and love to hear one of yours and then ask folks in the audience. I had realized I'd gone through a process and I kept getting triggered. And this is a dated reference, and there were a couple of times, and Grace Brady, you're on this call because I see you active in the chat. There were a couple of times on calls I would turn into Faye Dunaway from Mommy Dearest. Like, where you just lose your mind and you're crazy and you're over the top.
Right.
Now, while I love drama and I love comedy, I didn't like the way that I felt, and I didn't like what I was putting out there. So I decided to go in and realize, okay, I'm being triggered, and I'm doing things because there's something within me that says I need to grow.
Yeah.
So I was fortunate enough to kind of put that all together, just trust that inner voice. And as you well know, I'm just racing towards my purpose, hit a speed bump, go through the drama and the pain. but I'm now getting muscle with that. And so you too, I mean, one of your favorite, one of the I don't know if I would say favorite, but one of the things that sticks with me, you were known as the glue.
Yes.
Wherever you are, you were the glue. And
Mhm.
being the glue can sometimes be exhausting.
Oh, yes.
So talk about that. Like that was my journey for getting through the messy stuff to go looking at my purpose. But how does the glue go from being the glue to finding purpose?
Right. Yeah. So I was known as the glue that held everything together. I was always the behind the scenes person, making sure everything was going right. Everybody, was coming to me for the go to because I knew the answers. And, you're right. It is exhausting because you're always people pleasing again. And it's just like if you're not taking care of yourself first in order to help the other people in the room or whoever you're helping, I mean, that's the red flag. You know, the exhaustion is just like, oh my gosh, when is this going to stop? But when like I said earlier, when something resonates with you, so I truly believe it was a blessing that I lost my job because it's always about the lessons that you learn to help you grow and evolve. But when I was helping the people in the room and I was tapping into everything that I've learned, again, experiences of how you get to where you are today, and that helps you evolve. And it's just like I when you get the feeling like I love what I do, and you wake up. I love the saying, love what you do and never work in a day of your life.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you want to head towards. And one of the things I ask my clients is, if all your bills were paid for, money wasn't an issue. However, you had to give back to humanity, and that's what you have to do for work. What would that entail? And I really, and then I just let people really think about that. It's not like I don't want you to rush back and give me this answer. I really want you to think about this, and to help people along. I ask them, what are you the go-to for people in your organization? What are you known for? If you have your reviews that you received during your time, if you receive them, look back and what do people say about you? Because sometimes our natural skill sets are something that are natural to us. They're just an everyday thing.
And
But sometimes
you don't value them as much as you should.
exactly,
Right.
yes, yes.
There's a question here from Saeed, which was here earlier. Being the authentic self is the most important thing. How best to do it? I mean, it ties in. Like, okay,
Mhm.
we've talked about feeling it and healing it and going after it,
Right.
but a technique you use.
Well, how like on LinkedIn, I'll just give an example. When you are, starting on LinkedIn, you're just like, oh my gosh, what are people going to think about me, about my content? And just like, finally, you just build up the confidence, like, I truly know myself best. And this is what I feel like the universe needs to hear. And when I'm real, raw, and vulnerable, that's when my authenticity flows. And when others, excuse me, react to that comment and they get the way you feeling, they're vibing on the same frequency with you, and it's just like it just gives you like reassurance, like, okay, I know, I mean, like I said, you know yourselves best, but it's just like when people resonate with you. And that's what I love about LinkedIn. I've met wonderful soul people like yourself, and it's just like the like-minded people come together, and that helps build your authenticity.
That's great, Michelle. Really great. And I have to just pull up. There's so many comments. I can't wait for you to come through.
Oh,
Aaron Barrero also put it in the comments how you can look at the comments. Remember, you had a
oh,
question.
good. Yes, yes. Thank you,
Yeah, so
Aaron.
you have to scroll back and look at that. Grace, thank you so much. She says I've always been a bit of Faye Dunaway, but I guess kindness shows through. So thank you so much, Grace. Now my next question for you,
Yeah, yeah,
Michelle. How do and I'm going to put this up because I really want people to pop their questions into the comments here.
yeah.
Right, we're on LinkedIn. We meet one another.
Right.
There's billions of people in the world, but you and I have a similar philosophy. We're not looking for the numbers, right? The numbers are always nice and they're flattering, and oh wow, this many people, or or whatnot, but it's about a connection. So how do you decide who you're going to work with? Because that's not easy. Because when you are a people pleaser and you're the glue, someone's asked you to take on a job, but you realize it's not the right fit. How do you stay true to your purpose
Mhm.
of wanting to help people and transform people the way you did it, but also being able to say, I don't think I'm not right for you. How do you do it?
Well, I have a consultation call. My first consultation is free. And that's when I truly believe in being an active listener, because my journey is some people just need to be heard. And it's the know, like, trust factor. So if somebody resonated with my content on LinkedIn, and I reach out to them and we start, conversation in the inbox, and or it goes to a Zoom call. I jump on a call with someone and then we start talking. Now, if I feel that I cannot help them, I will tell them, I don't think that I'm the best person to be working with you. However, that's when the know, like, trust comes into play, because as you and I know, we have built wonderful relationships with people. We know other people. If it's not our expertise, we have so many people to reach out and say, "Hey, I got this wonderful person that I know that you can help them with." And then that's when you do an introduction. Well, this is Michelle. I know you can help her. This is what I can feel that you can help her with. And that is why you build the relationships on LinkedIn.
It's just been incredible, right? Because I don't know. We grow up. I was a retail person for most of my life, right?
Right.
It's retail, it's selling, it's customer service.
Mm-hmm.
But being in this virtual world and on LinkedIn, there are many coaches, there are many people providing all sorts of services. The biggest thrill I get is when you're able to connect your virtual friends, your connections in a way, because there's so many people, we can't possibly help everyone, and
No.
we are not for everyone. And if someone is trying to be that something for everyone,
Mhm.
they're not following their purpose.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah, they're not following their purpose.
Exactly. Right. Mhm.
So I'm looking through lots of comments here. I want to make sure that I'm not missing anything. So Michelle, some other tips you would give people starting a business, for example, right? You were the glue wherever you would work before, but
Right.
it's not an easy thing to just start your own business. What are
No.
some of the things you learned along the way?
Well, when I after I resigned, I'm like, oh my gosh, what the heck did I just do? I don't know how to be a solopreneur or entrepreneur. And I started to reach out to other career coaches. And that's when I realized that other people's journey are not your own journey. You'll have to go with the flow in whatever. You don't have, like, website, for instance. I started in May of 2020. I didn't have a website until earlier this year. However, I'm blessed that I did not start a website right away. And it's because I went through my own transformation journey. Like I said, I started out as a career coach, and I don't like titles and labels, but society makes us, have a title. I'm truly
Your
about,
website's down at the bottom of the screen here, by the
thank you.
way.
I'm all about getting to know people for who you are, what lights you up, what excites you. And that's what I love finding out about people. And that's how you realize your purpose too. Is like when you are talking about something, what makes you glow, what really sings in your heart and your soul.
I
So
love that.
yeah, to get in back to the, starting your business, it's just like it's truly like whatever you feel like doing. It's your business, it's your coaching, it's your solopreneurship. It's yours for the taking. Don't look. I mean, you can ask for other people's opinion, but it's like, I know myself best, and whatever's going to work out for me will work out. It's also having trust, patience, and perseverance, and it's again building relationships.
Oh, it's about building a relationship, and I've known you for so long. I think we've been connected and doing this for a year.
We
I
have.
believe it must be a year. I've lost all
It was,
track of time.
yes, it was last August. Yes.
So when you, David, and I get together,
Right.
it's interesting. The three of us on a screen, we can tell from one another's facial expressions. Hey, what's going on?
Yep.
Good week, bad week, lots of life happening,
Right.
and what you just said, I see your energy glowing. So I just have to point that out and say how
Right.
much.
And I did see real quick, Cindy said self-care is, and one of my mottos is self-love, and self-care is the best care. If we cannot be the better human and unless we work on ourselves, it starts from internal. You have to have unconditional love for yourself and forgive whatever you've gone through in your life, in order to be the best self. And that transforms to every aspect of your life, including finding the career that's best for you.
Our buddy David asks a question here. What does spirituality mean to you? And that's the perfect question coming from David, of course.
Right. Uh, Spirituality, I would say you just being listening to your higher self. Uh, Again, listening to your inner knowingness, um, not dismissing what other, not dismissing anything that you know within yourself. Like if something comes to your like, and you're thinking like, where did that come from? And just for instance, my LinkedIn content, I'll look back and I'm like, I look back from, I started consistently posting October 2020, and I go, wow, I felt like that was, my higher self speaking to me. And I'm just like, where did that come from? And I'm like, I look back and, I honestly, you have to be your own best friend and cheerleader. I am always saying, I love you and I'm proud of you. And that's been the internal growth for me too, is just like being your own best friend, because it starts from within. Hopefully I answered your question, David. I know that could be a long answer.
Yeah, and I just love when we have those conversations. I'm being mindful of time because we
Yes.
keep this to half an hour. We've got
Right.
5 minutes left, and I don't want
Yes.
to cut you off abruptly.
Yes.
Um, I you said something that really struck me, right? The higher self, that inner voice,
Yep.
and I think that scares people
Oh, it
sometimes.
does. Right.
It's just like, oh, what's Will talking about? Oh, Michelle's getting a little too weird for me.
Yeah.
But we all have it, and we call it different things. But I think it's so important, that stillness you talk about, the
Yes.
feeling it, because we've got an inner knowing, and when we don't trust it, that's when we get ourselves into trouble.
You're 100% right, because it's just like, how many times have you thought about something and you're like, and you go and do something, and you're like, you do what your gut, you go with it, you don't go with your gut instinct, and you look back and you're like, dang it, I knew I should have done that. That's your inner knowing telling you, trust it. Trust your inner knowingness. I mean, I know it, and some people are like, oh my God, what is she talking about? It's just like, believe me, when you do your inner work and healing and loving and caring for yourself, and and just being, and being in the moment. Like I love to meditate. It's like you said, the inner stillness, like just being in the state of flow, and just letting things, that no longer serve you, let it go.
It's and Helen, dear friend Helen here says, you
Yes.
must listen to your heart.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Hi, Helen.
It's so much about listening to.
Yes. It is true. It is true. Heart and soul and gut. They're your soul's compass.
There's a good colleague, ex-colleague, or forever colleague of mine, Christopher, saying, definitely best to listen to your inner gut. Couldn't agree with you more, Christopher.
Right.
You're doing wonderful things out there.
Yes. Yes.
So, Michelle, with the last couple of minutes, you're going to have so much fun going through the comments because you seem to have a lot of fans out there later. And I want to make sure everybody's able to connect with you. So the best way to connect with you, I would imagine, is through the LinkedIn profile, right?
Yes, yes. Please follow me. Also, I reach out to my MichelleCordyCoaching.com if you want to get on my calendar. There's a calendar link. If you are in another time zone, if there's something that you don't see on my calendar, please contact me. There's a contact me link on that, and send me a message, and I'd be happy to just talk to you. And that's what I said earlier. It's just like people just want to be heard and listened to, and that's, like I said, that's what I love about building relationships. And if I can't help you, I know somebody out there will.
And I just put down, and I took this from your website,
yes.
because I love it, transforming lives one conversation at a time.
Yes.
Right? It really goes into things. The journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. All of those sorts of things.
Yes.
That's how you build relationships, you build business, you build community. And that's what I love so much about what we've been able to do here. And these 30 minutes always go so quickly, goes super, super quickly. I think David's listening, and there's a bunch of friends listening here. I think we should do the three of us.
Absolutely.
Me, you, and David Handsome.
Yes.
Or what did Usama calls him Mr. Handsome.
Yes.
The three of us.
Yes.
we will. The three of us will do a show. Let me just double check here. We've got lots of comments coming in. I don't think we'll be able to make it. Oh, there's Jareen. For those of you who are watching here live, when I hang up here with Michelle, I'm jumping onto another show with Jareen, and we talk about kindness. Flash your shirt there. That's
be kind. And then it says to one another.
To one another, yes.
Yeah.
To oneself and to
Yes.
one another.
Correct. Right. Yes. Start within, and then we'll work out.
Well, thank you so very much, Michelle. This
Thank
went
you.
super quick. Enjoy the comments, and Aaron Barrero, who's been on this show, will also be able to help you with your question about the comments.
I'm reaching out to you, Aaron. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and I will go through the comments. I appreciate you. And just one last thing, love yourself and be kind to yourself.
Take care.
Bye,
No better way
everyone.
to end. Bye, everybody. Thanks, Michelle.
Bye. Thank you, Will.
Bye.